These two are discount royals for the reality TV.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may have left royal life behind, but for many critics, that was only the beginning of a much larger story. Over the years, the couple have faced repeated accusations that they have mastered the art of turning status, connections, and influence into opportunity. While supporters see two people building a life outside the monarchy, skeptics argue that a very different pattern has emerged, one involving powerful friends, exclusive privileges, and a series of controversies that continue to spark debate around the world. In this video, we're looking at 15 moments that fueled those accusations and left critics questioning whether Harry and Meghan were truly seeking independence or simply finding new ways to benefit from the resources and goodwill of others. And make sure you stay until number 15, because that story may be the most awkward and revealing of them all. One incident in particular quickly became one of the most discussed examples. In May 2023, Harry and Meghan traveled to New York City, where reports surfaced that they hoped to stay at the legendary Carlyle Hotel, one of Manhattan's most exclusive and expensive destinations. With luxury suites reportedly ranging from around $1,200 to well over $5,000 per night, the hotel has long been associated with celebrities, politicians, and royalty. According to multiple reports, representatives for the couple allegedly inquired about receiving discounted or complimentary accommodations. What happened next surprised many observers. Unlike some establishments that might welcome the publicity attached to famous guests, the hotel reportedly declined the request without hesitation. The story became even more intriguing because of the hotel's historic connection to Princess Diana, who was known to stay there during visits to New York. Some commentators speculated that Harry and Meghan may have believed that connection could help open doors. If so, it apparently made no difference. Unable to secure the arrangement they were reportedly seeking, the couple allegedly stayed at a private residence owned by friends instead. For critics, the episode became another example of what they view as a contradiction. A couple who publicly champion self-sufficiency while allegedly continuing to pursue exclusive perks and special treatment behind the scenes. But that was far from the only time questions like these emerged. When Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties in 2020, they presented the move as a path toward financial independence and personal freedom. What followed, however, reportedly unfolded much faster than they expected. Funding from the royal family was reportedly cut off, and security arrangements changed almost immediately, creating a situation that insiders claimed caught the couple off guard. Suddenly facing a dramatically different reality, Harry and Meghan allegedly began searching for support beyond palace walls. It was during this uncertain and highly secretive period that another surprising name entered the story: Tyler Perry. What made the situation especially fascinating was that, according to reports, Meghan had never actually met Perry in person before reaching out. Yet despite being virtual strangers, she reportedly contacted him directly, explaining the challenges they were facing and hoping he might be willing to help. What happened next would become one of the most unexpected chapters in their post-royal journey. Tyler Perry reportedly sympathized with the couple's situation and opened the doors of his sprawling Beverly Hills mansion, allowing Harry and Meghan to stay there for several months without paying rent.
Other famous personalities are seen befriending the embattled couple, including entertainment mogul Tyler Perry, who offered up his Beverly Hills mansion to Meghan and Harry without having ever met them in person.
Thanks to another amazing friend who we've never met, but who believes in us and wants to help.
At a time when they were navigating life outside the royal family, the arrangement provided not only privacy, but also security and comfort. Harry later publicly thanked Perry, describing him as an incredible friend who stepped in when they needed help the most. Yet for many critics, the story raised a different question. How had the couple managed to secure such extraordinary assistance from someone Meghan reportedly had never even met in person? To skeptics, the episode became one of the earliest examples used to support claims that Harry and Meghan possessed a remarkable ability to turn personal challenges into valuable opportunities. But that was only the beginning. Another controversy emerged during Meghan's 2022 photo shoot for Variety magazine. For the session, she wore an elegant emerald green designer gown reportedly valued at nearly $1,700. The dress was intended for the shoot, and under normal circumstances, items like these are returned after production wraps. Then, eagle-eyed viewers noticed something unexpected.
Meghan Markle, apparently, she is a kleptomaniac. She is allegedly a thief. People are talking about this online. Apparently, she's stealing dresses left and right, okay? She's apparently stolen several dresses, according to our sleuths on the internet. But let's talk about one right now, okay? So she allegedly stole a $1,695 designer gown that she wore in a promo video for her upcoming Netflix holiday special. Okay, apparently she stole this from a Variety photo shoot in October 2022.
When Meghan later appeared in footage connected to her lifestyle project, some claimed the same gown seemed to make another appearance. Almost immediately, speculation spread online that the dress had never been returned. The accusations gained traction across social media, with critics insisting there was more to the story than met the eye. Meghan's representatives strongly denied the claims, reportedly calling them false and defamatory. Even so, the controversy refused to disappear, becoming yet another talking point for those who believed the couple had developed a pattern of accepting perks that extended beyond what was originally intended. Questions about influence and access surfaced again during the London premiere of The Lion King. In a moment that quickly went viral, Prince Harry was reportedly seen speaking with Disney CEO Bob Iger and mentioning that Meghan was interested in voiceover work. According to reports, Harry enthusiastically explained that his wife had experience in the field and would be interested in future Disney projects. Not long afterward, Meghan became the narrator of Disney's documentary, Elephant. Supporters viewed it as a perfectly reasonable networking moment. Critics saw something else entirely. They argued that very few aspiring performers have the opportunity to pitch their talents directly to one of the most powerful executives in entertainment while standing on a royal red carpet. For those already skeptical of the couple, the incident became another example of royal connections opening doors that might otherwise have remained closed. Then came a story that many found almost impossible to believe. Following the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, reports began circulating that Harry and Meghan had allegedly explored the possibility of returning to the United States aboard Air Force One with President Joe Biden. The idea immediately sparked headlines because of the extraordinary level of access such a request would require.
About former royals Harry and Meghan, back in September, they allegedly asked if they could fly back to the U.S. with President Biden on Air Force One after Queen Elizabeth's funeral. But the White House allegedly denied that request, apparently worried it could cause some negative publicity, if you will.
According to reports, the proposal never gained serious traction and was quickly dismissed. Nevertheless, the mere suggestion generated intense discussion. To critics, it reflected what they viewed as an ongoing expectation of VIP treatment at the highest possible level. Whether the request was realistic or not, the story became yet another chapter in a growing list of incidents that fueled accusations that Harry and Meghan were constantly seeking advantages unavailable to ordinary people. And as controversial as those stories were, even bigger allegations were still to come. Many observers were stunned by reports suggesting that Harry and Meghan may have believed their former royal status could help them gain access to one of the most exclusive privileges imaginable: travel aboard Air Force One. Even though they were no longer working members of the royal family, the story fueled criticism from those who felt the couple still expected access to extraordinary perks long after stepping away from official duties. But according to royal biographer Tom Bower, that was hardly the only example that raised eyebrows. Bower has claimed that Harry allegedly developed a reputation for reaching out to wealthy friends when he needed access to luxury accommodations or transportation. One particularly talked about story involved a reportedly affluent acquaintance who was asked whether Harry could stay at a beautiful beachfront property. On its own, that request might not have generated much attention. What allegedly happened next is what made the story spread. According to the account, Harry reportedly contacted the same person again just one day later, this time asking whether he could also borrow their private jet.
It's a growing awareness that they're takers with zero self-awareness, and everyone's exhausted by them. I think takers is the key word. They've been accused of asking to borrow people's vacation homes, asking to borrow their jets. Their relationships seem very one-sided, and they're focused on what they can get out of other people and how they can take the financial burden off of themselves.
Whether the story unfolded exactly that way or not, critics seized on it immediately. To them, it painted the image of a prince who had once enjoyed some of the greatest privileges in the world, but was now allegedly relying on the generosity of celebrity friends to maintain a similar lifestyle. Then there was Meghan's baby shower, an event that became almost as famous as the headlines surrounding it. In February 2019, Meghan traveled to New York City for a lavish celebration ahead of Archie's birth. The event took place at the ultra-exclusive Markle Hotel, one of Manhattan's most luxurious destinations, and quickly became a major media spectacle. Many assumed the royal couple would be paying for the celebration themselves. Reports, however, suggested that much of the event was financed and organized by Meghan's celebrity circle instead. Serena Williams was widely reported to have played a significant role in helping arrange and fund the gathering, while other high-profile friends were also said to have contributed. The scale of the event only added to the controversy. Reports claimed that portions of the hotel were effectively dedicated to the celebration, creating an atmosphere that many viewed as extravagant even by celebrity standards.
If there was one coveted invitation here in New York, it was for this party, an intimate baby shower for Meghan, reportedly thrown for her by Serena Williams and Amal Clooney. It was impossible to miss Amal, the wife of actor George Clooney, who was decked out in brilliant red. Serena, ahead of the party, posting selfies from the venue to promote her fashion label.
For critics, the optics were difficult to ignore. They questioned why a duchess with global fame and access to considerable resources would allow friends to shoulder such a large portion of the costs for a celebration centered around her. To supporters, it was simply a group of close friends coming together for a special occasion. To detractors, it became another frequently cited example in the ongoing debate surrounding the couple. And then came the Invictus Games. Created by Prince Harry to honor and support wounded, injured, and sick service personnel and veterans, the event was intended to keep the spotlight firmly on the athletes and their inspiring stories. Yet in recent years, some critics have argued that attention has increasingly shifted elsewhere. During the 2022 Invictus Games in The Hague, Meghan's wardrobe became one of the most discussed topics of the entire event. Media outlets and online commentators closely tracked her outfits throughout the week, with estimates suggesting the value of her clothing and accessories ranged from tens of thousands of dollars to far higher figures depending on how the totals were calculated. As photos circulated, debates intensified.
At the Invictus Games, was it to actually promote the veterans and all that they have achieved? Or was it to show off her abysmal sense of fashion and her nouveau riche lifestyle? Yes, oh yes, we have at least roughly $50,000 worth of clothing worn over the span of a couple of days, according to my very humble records. Many of it was new, some of it was older. It included a $3,800 coat. Yes, that's right, $4,000 for a coat. And she changed out her coats for every single engagement.
Some saw nothing unusual about a public figure dressing stylishly for a major international event. Others argued that the focus on luxury fashion distracted from the athletes whose achievements were supposed to be the centerpiece of the Games. For critics already skeptical of Harry and Meghan, the spectacle reinforced a familiar narrative, one in which charitable events, celebrity status, and public attention seemed to blend together in ways that continually sparked controversy. But even those headlines would soon be overshadowed by accusations that were far more controversial. Many observers questioned why so much attention was being directed toward luxury fashion and designer labels at an event intended to celebrate wounded veterans and their achievements. For critics, the contrast between the mission of the Invictus Games and the headlines surrounding wardrobe costs became increasingly difficult to ignore. Then came a trip that sparked an entirely new round of debate. During their 2024 visit to Nigeria in support of the Invictus Games, Harry and Meghan were welcomed with a level of security and ceremony that many commentators said resembled an official royal tour. Over the course of several days, the couple reportedly traveled with motorcades, government escorts, security details, formal receptions, and highly coordinated public appearances. Images from the trip quickly spread online, showing scenes that looked strikingly similar to the royal engagements they had left behind years earlier.
In Nigeria, after all, Nigeria is part of the Commonwealth, but this trip has drawn some mixed reactions. Another criticism that we heard was that Harry and Meghan have accepted this invitation and presumably the costs of security and travel will be covered by Nigeria. And some people think, well, Harry and Meghan are multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
Why are they traveling over to Nigeria and expecting, the Nigerian government to cost it? I mean, unfortunately, this is a country where 2/3 of Nigerians are living on less than a couple dollars a day. I don't know how this trip's going to pan out, to be honest.
Yeah.
What made the optics especially controversial was the timing. At the same time, Harry remained involved in legal battles in the United Kingdom concerning security arrangements following his departure from royal duties. Critics argued that there was a clear contradiction. The couple had stepped away from official royal responsibilities, yet they still appeared willing to enjoy many of the privileges and ceremonial benefits associated with royal status when opportunities arose abroad. To supporters, it was simply a reflection of their international profile. To detractors, it looked like a return to the very lifestyle they had publicly distanced themselves from. Another controversy centered on Frogmore Cottage. In 2019, Harry and Meghan moved into the historic royal residence, which underwent extensive renovations before they settled in. Reports indicated that approximately $2.4 million worth of work was funded through the sovereign grant, a source of funding ultimately connected to public money. At the time, the renovations were presented as necessary improvements to make the property suitable as a family home. But the situation became far more controversial after the couple left royal life and relocated to North America not long afterward. Critics were quick to point out that the renovated residence had reportedly been occupied for only a relatively short period before being largely abandoned. As public frustration grew, questions emerged about whether taxpayers should have been responsible for such a significant expense in the first place. The backlash became so intense that Harry eventually repaid the renovation costs.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may be settling into American life, but they've paid rent on Frogmore Cottage in the UK through March 31st, 2022. That's according to a new annual report on the taxpayer-funded sovereign grant, which finances the royal family's public duties. The report also specifies the amount the couple paid to the royal family for the home in September of 2020, $3.3 million. This lump sum was initially thought to only cover their extensive renovations on the property.
Even so, for many critics, the repayment did little to erase the perception that the entire episode reflected poor judgment and a sense of entitlement. But perhaps one of the most persistent accusations involves something the couple chose not to leave behind when they exited royal life: their titles. When Harry and Meghan stepped away from official duties, many expected them to distance themselves completely from royal branding. Instead, critics argue that the Sussex name became one of the most valuable assets in their post-royal business strategy. The Sussex title appeared across major ventures, including media projects, charitable initiatives, public branding efforts, and high-profile commercial partnerships. The couple also reportedly sought trademark protections connected to Sussex-related branding, further fueling debate about how closely their future plans remain tied to their royal identity.
And it's also quite disparaging and insulting because they're effectively prostituting their titles and the royal family to make more money.
To supporters, using the Sussex name was perfectly reasonable. It was their family name and part of their public identity. But critics viewed the situation differently. They argued that Harry and Meghan had rejected the obligations and scrutiny that came with royal service while continuing to benefit from the prestige, recognition, and global influence that those same royal connections provided. For those already skeptical of the couple, it became one of the clearest examples of a criticism that has followed them for years, walking away from the institution while still leveraging the value that institution created. And the stories still weren't over. Some of the most controversial accusations were yet to come. When Harry and Meghan signed their highly publicized deal with Netflix, expectations were enormous. industry insiders reportedly believed the partnership could lead to documentaries, scripted productions, children's programming, and a wide range of major entertainment projects. Depending on the report, the overall agreement was said to be worth anywhere from tens of millions of dollars to potentially over $100 million. For a time, it appeared as though the couple were poised to become major players in Hollywood. But as the years passed, questions began to emerge about what was actually being produced behind the scenes. Several announced projects reportedly struggled to move forward. Meghan's animated series Pearl was ultimately canceled, while other proposed productions either remained in development or never reached audiences at all. What initially looked like the beginning of a vast entertainment empire gradually became the subject of growing speculation. Critics argued that Harry and Meghan may have underestimated the realities of the industry.
Right, I think we can quite confidently say at this point, the deal's over. So that initial 5-year contract, the $100 million legendary partnership, is all but done. That is expiring within the next few months, and it's understood that Netflix will not be renewing that.
Building successful films, television shows, and original content requires years of planning, creative development, production management, and constant oversight. For skeptics, the situation became another example of the couple discovering that global recognition and royal fame do not automatically translate into entertainment success. The contrast between the massive expectations and the relatively limited output became one of the most talked about aspects of their post-royal business ventures. Yet even that controversy was overshadowed by accusations of hypocrisy that followed them for years. Few issues generated more criticism than the debate surrounding private jets. Harry and Meghan have frequently spoken about environmental responsibility, climate awareness, and the importance of protecting the planet for future generations. Because of those public statements, critics paid particularly close attention to their travel habits. In 2019, while Harry was promoting environmental initiatives and sustainable travel, reports surfaced claiming that the couple had taken multiple private jet trips within a remarkably short period. The reports quickly exploded across international headlines, with critics arguing that private aviation carries a significantly larger environmental footprint than commercial travel. The backlash intensified as more details emerged. One report claimed that Elton John had helped provide transportation for one of the flights, sparking another wave of debate about celebrity privilege and environmental messaging. For many observers, the issue was not simply about air travel, it was about consistency. They argued that public figures who advocate for climate action should be held to the same standards they encourage others to follow. Years later, the controversy resurfaced once again. Reports in 2025 claimed that Harry and Meghan traveled by private jet from California to Las Vegas for a Katy Perry concert, reigniting criticism that had never fully disappeared.
Now, environmental campaigners Harry and Meghan, remember them? They've just arrived in Canada, and guess what? They've arrived on a gas-guzzling private jet. Of course they have, because they began a 3-day visit ahead of next year's Invictus Games.
Supporters often pointed to security concerns and logistical challenges as factors influencing travel decisions. Critics remained unconvinced. To them, the pattern reinforced a broader criticism that has followed Harry and Meghan throughout much of their post-royal journey, publicly promoting one set of values while privately living by another. Whether fair or unfair, that perception became one of the most persistent and damaging narratives surrounding the couple. And for many commentators, it perfectly captured why accusations of grifting and hypocrisy continue to generate so much attention today. As the years have gone by, a number of stories, whether fully verified, disputed, or based on insider accounts, have continued to fuel debate about Harry and Meghan's relationship with privilege, status, and royal life. One of the most frequently discussed claims comes from royal author Robert Lacey. According to his account, Meghan reportedly sought immediate access to a royal tiara through the late Queen Elizabeth II's trusted dresser, Angela Kelly, during preparations for her wedding. The alleged exchange quickly became palace gossip, with reports suggesting that the request was viewed as unusually forceful. The story took on a life of its own, after claims emerged that Queen Elizabeth was less than pleased with how the situation had unfolded. According to various accounts, the Queen reportedly reminded those involved that royal jewels were not simply accessories to be requested on demand. Whether entirely accurate or not, the story became another example critics pointed to when arguing that Meghan expected royal privileges to arrive quickly and without the traditional palace process.
Harry and Meghan were getting married, and Meghan needed to go a trial for her hair the day before the wedding. She wanted to take the tiara out to go meet with her hairdresser, and they wouldn't allow it.
Then came another allegation that continues to circulate years later. In Tom Bower's book Revenge, claims surfaced regarding a commercial campaign Meghan reportedly filmed for Reitmans in Montreal before her relationship with Harry became public. According to the account, after the production wrapped, wardrobe staff allegedly noticed that a pair of designer Aquazzura shoes had not been returned. The story became even more intriguing when observers later claimed that Meghan appeared to wear what looked like the same shoes during her engagement announcement alongside Prince Harry. No definitive proof was ever publicly presented to settle the matter beyond dispute, but that did little to stop the story from spreading. For critics, it became yet another anecdote, used to support a larger narrative that had been building for years. And with that, we've reached the end of our list. These were 15 of the most talked about moments that critics have used when accusing Harry and Meghan of benefiting from other people's money, influence, connections, status, or generosity. Supporters and critics will likely continue debating these stories for years to come. But one thing is certain: few public figures generate as much controversy, speculation, and intrigue as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Now we want to hear from you. Which story surprised you the most? Do you think these incidents have been exaggerated by the media, or do they reveal a larger pattern? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one of them. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with friends who follow the royal family and celebrity news. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth stories, exclusive updates, and the latest developments surrounding the world's most talked about public figures. And don't go too far, because this story is far from over. We're already working on a follow-up video featuring even more royal drama, behind-the-scenes revelations, surprising connections, and controversial claims that didn't make it into today's countdown. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.